Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Thursday, February 20th, 2025 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi, and our energy mantra for today is I take the time to nurture and strengthen my auric field. And our auric field is actually one of our first lines of defense when it comes to energy swirling around. And today's astro definitely has a lot of different energy swirling around, but it kind of mimics what we've been seeing here on the planet. So you can go look up like your auric field, the seven auric bodies, astral bodies, any of those things, and it'll give you different names, and different systems have different names. The naming doesn't matter, but to recognize like there are these energetic fields around you that are, again, kind of a first line of defense can be really helpful. So what we're working through today is a lot of different information energies being activated. We have the moon today moving out of Scorpio into Sagittarius fairly early in the day. About 5 a.m. Pacific time, we have the moon shifting into Sagittarius. So that's going to activate 3 of the 4 mutable signs. And I always call the mutable signs our information carriers, information holders, knowledge sharers. Like all of the mutable signs love to tell you about this. Let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about this. I am a Sagittarius. I am one of the mutables. I am here to talk to you about your astro field and astrology, right? This is the knowledge that I'm sharing and weaving. But you'll find that the different information givers, the information or knowledge givers, these different signs can have competing ideas. And I think that this is because, again, all things look different depending on what perspective you're looking at things. So today we're going to have the sun and the moon, sun in Pisces, moon in Sagittarius squaring. And then we're also going to have Mercury in Pisces squaring Jupiter in Gemini, still hanging out at 11 degrees. It's been hanging out there, helping us master some of this mental energy. And so in these square energies, we can find ourselves challenging, attacking each other when our ideas don't line up, our perspectives don't look the same. And I think we've been seeing so much of this in the world, right? Like this side hates this side hates that side, and it doesn't matter what anybody says. It's like, no, I don't want to believe it. I don't believe it because I don't like you. And I can't say that of the signs because I love Pisces and I love Geminis and I love Virgos. I love the mutable signs. So I still like them even though our ideas don't always line up. But in the world, we've seen a lot of this divide and conquer. And I think this is an important thing to remember, is that so much of what is going on is actually unseen and unknown by us. And Gemini, Jupiter in Gemini, reminds us to stay curious because we can always learn something new. Right now I would say that's too much information swirling around out there, and so much of it is through tainted perspective, and so much of it has agenda by who knows who, right? And so this is why we want to strengthen our auric field, tune into ourselves, connect to personal discernment, connect to our intuition, and connect to direct connection to the divine, to know there's so much more happening than we could ever see or view. Now, I love the moon in Sagittarius for this because the moon in Sagittarius, or Sagittarius energy, does say, let me take a higher perspective. Let me look at things not through like a microglass. Let me look at things from more of a horizon, more of a big picture. Look at things through a big picture. When you do, I can't say that it looks much better. It still looks kind of scary, but it feels like there is purpose unfolding in the unfolding. So we do have our first connection. Well, let me say, this is our first connection, which prepares us, I think, for the day beautifully. Our first connection actually is the moon in Scorpio connecting to Neptune. And so that hopefully is opening up our connection to God, Spirit, Universe, and strengthening. Scorpio can be good at discernment. Scorpio is like a human lie detector at times, right? So that can be very helpful for that discernment energy. It can also be helpful in processing. We're processing a lot still. But once the moon moves into Sagittarius, we're going to have the sun and the moon square off. And I think that both Sagittarius and Pisces can hold a lot of higher knowledge, can hold a lot of higher wisdom. And if they can remember to learn from each other and listen to each other, this energy can be really helpful. However, the square says we might be challenged in learning from each other. We might be challenged in listening to each other. I would say the same about that Mercury-Jupiter square. That, again, Mercury in Pisces is looking for Jupiter and Gemini to inform it, this is the haps, this is what's happening, so that hopefully Mercury in Pisces can take it to a higher dimension and also use what doesn't look so good as contrast to help daydream, to help imagine better. But again, we may find some conflicting perspectives, some conflicting views. Now, I had a friend once say that there was a lot of balance in something that was very contentious, lots of conflicting views on it. And yet, both sides that were strongly holding their energy, their own, were holding some semblance of balance, where the truth lay somewhere in the middle. And we do have this balance going on, right? The abundance card. This is Zorba the Buddha. And it's meant to remind us to keep one foot in the spiritual, one foot in the physical. And so keep that in mind through your perspective and through the mental energies, which are strong today. Now, we could end up here. We have comparison. This has showed up quite a bit this week, right? And then we have the burden. I personally, a lot of times, just like to listen. I like to listen because I can learn, and I don't know, because I can learn a lot, until somebody asks me, and then I'm happy to share. But learn to listen in and through this, and then, respectfully see where you can share in and through these energies. And that's part of this source energy, your inner fire. Moon in Sagittarius, it is fiery nature. And so it helps strengthen, empower our lower chakras, our presence here on earth, our grounded presence on earth, which can also be helpful amidst all of the he said, she said stuff. So yes, be aware of that. Now, we also have the moon connecting into Pluto. This is a sextile. So again, speaking of being empowered, Pluto is meant to help empower us, but you may also, through listening, through connecting, through discerning, come up with some inconvenient truths. So be aware of that energy. And again, anything we learn is just meant to help keep evolving us, shifting us, opening us, making us better, and see where what you're hearing can make you better. That's a sign, lean in, lean in. We also have the moon connecting to Venus, speaking of fiery energies. Moon in Sagittarius, Venus in Aries. Venus is actually already reaching its station degree. It's at 9 degrees today, which is where we're going to have Mercury go retrograde in the month of March, and where we're going to have an eclipse in the month of March. All of this astro energy and what I'm saying today is meant to prepare you. I spent actually a long time meditating, listening for today's astro energies, because I can feel There's enough of it out there, right? The contention in this energy. And yet there's a path through that helps and supports everybody. But it starts with you grounding. And I think that this is part of this card. Again, those lower chakras, grounding in, firing up yourself so that you feel strong in yourself. But also connecting into God's Spirit Universe and strengthening, again, the field around you, which helps sort through some of the stuff. Let's see. Moon Venus could be a fun evening, but it could also add a little fire into your personality and into any discussions. So do be aware of that. So, pulled 2 cards from the Prism Oracle today. The first card I pulled was Hunger. And again, it has, look at this, circles. Oh, more circles. Lots of circles. Okay. Anyway, but hunger is about hunger for something, a desire for something. And in this case, you know, I can tell you as a Sagittarius, and with the moon in Sagittarius, I have always had a hunger for knowledge, for learning, to know. And beyond knowing, knowing truth, right? And again, I think there's a lot of perspective when it comes to that. And so being able to know enough to know that I don't know and to hold space for more knowledge. But that's what I take of this hunger card. So you may find yourself hungry to understand. That's a powerful space to be in. But I also love this cleanse because this feels connected to what I said about our auric and energetic fields, cleansing these energies. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. I am still considering doing an energy class. I feel like I'm going to. I just got to get myself aligned, and hopefully Mars going direct will help that, because everything has been so slow for me while Mars has been retrograde. So I'm still considering that because I think that these are tools that we're going to need to utilize. But for now, even just imagining light wash through your auric fields, or water wash through them, or sparkles sparkling out, anything in there, even waving your hands with intention can be helpful. So lots of ways that you can help yourself and support yourself in these energies. Just watch for the comparison, watch for the headbutting. We're not all here to agree. We're here to bring our different frequencies, our different colors to each other. That it is, here's this card, all of these colors that make a whole, bring us to that completion of the spectrum. We need it all. And I try to remember that when I hear something that feels like complete donkey poop to me. I try to remember. And I have to say, there's been times when I'm like, no. And then years later, I'll circle back around and be like, wow, that was on point. So I always put things to a side. Who knows? I don't know yet, but maybe one day I will. So I'm going to leave that there for today. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. Eclipse readings available. We will have an eclipse in Virgo and in Aries, like I just mentioned. Virgo completing the mutables. Virgo the know-it-all, says the know-it-all Sagittarius. So if you would like support with that, reach out. Besides all that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and may your guiding light be strong, and know that you can trust your process, because you and me, we are together the solution. Namaste.